Mayor David Beeger is going to come up now and start the presentation.
Good morning, everybody. Wow, what a crowd. I just said the magic word, wow. It seems that wow has turned to be probably the #1 word I use for the last 10 years. And I call Hutto the wow city. And the reason I say that is because just driving down 79, you know, this sleepy little farming community is totally different. It's wow. And it happens every week. You see something new in Hutto. It's just plain ordinary wow. Something new has happened. A new company has come to town. A new subdivision is opening up. It's just wow. Approximately 200 new commercial permits have been issued in this past 10 years. If you think about that, that is huge. That's another wow. The population in 2000, if you remember the signs out there on the highways always said 1,250. Even though we knew we were growing, today the population is approximately 18,514, which also includes lakeside estates. We have added over 4,800 new rooftops. That's amazing. That's amazing. We have over 5,000 lots plotted. In Hutto, we have over 2,000 acres that have been added to the city limits and also to the ETJ. You've got to say this is huge. This is another wow moment. State Highway 130 opened through Hutto, thanks in part to our friends to the west. And I don't see any of them here today. At any rate, we've got 130. We've embraced it. We have Limmer Loop now and Ed Schmidt Boulevard. These are fabulous highways that are in Hutto. Last year, at the beginning of the year, we met with Temple College, and we had just realized we had an opportunity to possibly bring the college to Hutto. And we've been working diligently to that end. And as you heard Dr. Barron speak earlier, January 27th is a magic day for them. The day that Temple College, that we actually presented our material to Temple College was another wow day. I think Dr. Barron will attest to that. I believe when we made our presentation, she was speechless. You have to realize that the things that have gone on in Hutto have been just tremendous, and we've got a tremendous city staff. The Public Works Department, the Police Department, the Fire Department, everybody that services the Hutto area is just here because they want to be here. They want to see Hutto thrive, they want to see Hutto grow, and as you can tell, we've got the next 2 exits on 130. So Hutto has embraced all of this. It's embraced the Highway 130. It has grown, it has prospered, and it may continue to do so with God's blessing. Thank you.
2010 was a great year for the city of Hutto. Really was an exceptional year. Despite the economic downturn, Hutto had primed itself to be in a good spot to be able to continue services without any interruption, to be able to take care of the needs of the citizens, and be able to, as you just saw, expand on quite a bit of what had already come before. The past decade has been a great one, as the mayor has said, for the city of Hutto, and it's one to where this next decade ahead doesn't look to be any different. You have at your place, rather than bore you with statistics and numbers on how the city did financially during the 2010 year, you have a brochure before you that expands on that quite a bit and talks to you about, with the last fiscal year, how did we do, where did we end up, what did we accomplish. To talk a little bit more, though, about 2010, I want to, the video you just saw came to you because of hard work by your city staff. And your public servants are actually doing an outstanding job out there, and there are a couple of them stories I really want to highlight from this past year that show and give an example of what's going on here in the Hutto community, and just kind of the interaction excellence, which is a term we use up at City Hall, that is going on by your public servants to have their job, to have the job that they provide you be better and to excel, to exceed your expectations. I don't know how many of y'all know Gerald and Daniel and Jenny over at the Building Inspections Division over in the city. Gerald and Daniel especially are two fun guys, quite humorous, a bit of a dry wit. You learn to like. But they also have years of expertise and experience, both in the public and private sector, from everything to how to get a house built, to inspect it and make sure that it is safe and up to code, and it's going to be a quality house that you can move into and live in. And the same with commercial. We also work with Bureau Veritas, a private company, to do commercial inspections. And they come in and quite often work with our builders, our contractors, to make sure that we have safe, quality, both commercial and residential here. Recently, a contractor working on a new business here in town was coming up against some deadlines. He was hitting as far as the wall where he was going to have to start paying some penalties if he didn't get the business or the stick of occupancy to have that business open pretty quickly. We looked at it, and he was actually asking for, it was hitting to where he needed a Saturday inspection. Chief Kerr was not here right now to brag on, but we called him up, and he said, look, I can have my fire inspector, whether it be me or somebody else out there, as late as needs to get out there to do the fire inspection on it, to get this place open. They came out that Friday evening and did the inspection. We talked to the contractor. He said, look, is there any way you can give me a Saturday inspection? We talked to Gerald and Daniel and the guys at Bureau Veritas, and they said we can make it happen. You don't normally find that in a lot of communities. It's 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. With these guys, they said, look, if this business is hitting this type of deadline, we can work with them as a team to get this open. Another thing that we did regarding our school resource officers. I've got a 15-year-old son, and one of the biggest worries I've got is he's going to be starting up driving this year. That should be a worry you have as well. The police department, though, worries about that and more. One of the things that Chief didn't mention, but he talks about often, is you don't see the amount of crime and problems that the police department essentially deters. You don't see that doesn't happen because it doesn't happen, because of the amount that they're out patrolling or they're out visiting. Our school resource officers, led by Sergeant Bill Rettmeyer and Paul Leal and Mike Orman and Katie Tangeman, they have the same mentality up in the schools. Their job not so much is to figure out how to solve the crimes that are going on in the schools, but make sure those crimes don't happen. And one of the biggest fears that they have, as well as most of us, I think, if not all of us have, is teens, if the opportunity comes to get around alcohol, what impact that has, and then also, especially if you get them behind a wheel, what a devastation can occur. And so what they put together was a Shattered Dreams program, and they ran up at the Hutto High School. Got all the juniors and seniors out there to see what really happens when you get behind the wheel and you're intoxicated. And it's not a pretty sight. And they showed them all the warts and all. They had, as you can see, there was deaths, fatalities out there. The makeup department did a great job of showing what the actual body looks like. You had Life Flight come in. You had the Hutto Fire and Rescue out there with the Jaws of Life, tearing up a car to get the people out. It was just one to really drive home. This was done about a week or two before prom. Really drive home the point that alcohol and teens don't mix, and especially alcohol, teens, and driving don't mix. And who knows how many lives those 4 guys saved. We hopefully we'll never know, because the people will got the message and will be able to carry on. But they made an impact. They made an impact on those juniors and seniors. They made an impact on those administrators. They even made an impact on the underclassmen that weren't able to go out and see it, because they know that, you know, they heard about it. They're expecting this is going to be a regular program. They're expecting and waiting for them to be able to see it, to be able to drive home that point, and to get that message. I don't know how many of y'all seen our new Superior Public Water System signs that we have that are sitting out there on Highway 79. This doesn't happen just by chance. It happens because of people like Jim Devereaux and his utilities crew, who are just painstakingly rigorous in making sure that everything that the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality has in regards to making sure that the water that you have and provided is not only safe, but it is beyond safe. They're checking. I mean, if they get back a bad sample of water, by the way, they take water samples every day from the different sites. Even for Christmas, these guys, they are every morning. They are out there checking the water to make sure that at every place we have water coming in, that it is free of any bacteria, that it is going to be clean and healthy as it comes through our lines. And again, this is something you don't have to worry about. When you turn on you aren't going to be sick. You don't have to. When I got here in 2005, we still on our website, City of Hutto is not under boil water notice. You usually don't put that up there unless you've had a number of them before. And you'll often see that in a number of communities. And thankfully, because of Jim and also Scott Stromsas has made sure it's not just the utilities crew, but also your streets and drainage crews that are out there working. They've had the same training. They have licenses to be able to test water and to take care of our water system. So that whole public works department is cross-trained and ready to go to make sure that the water you receive is going to be above really your expectations in regards to what comes out of the tap. The next decade begins now. You know, we talked a lot about the last decade, and for Hutto, it was a decade as not seen pretty well anywhere else for quite a while. But the next decade is already underway, and with some of the things you saw just on the video, the plans are being made, things are being moved forward with. So in 2021, somebody else will be up here telling you about. Look at everything that just got accomplished during this past decade. Higher education in Hutto. You will see along State Highway 130, the Temple College TSTC site, along with others. That's 50 plus acres that's over there that will be developed over this next decade and probably even beyond then to bring higher education to our community. Downtown redevelopment and co-op development. Farley Street project starts up in March is our expectation. That's what we're planning for. But beyond Farley Street, you also have Taylor Street. You have a number of downtown streets that are going to be reworked to have, as far as the ditches taken out and putting curb and gutter in. You will have sidewalks put downtown. You'll also have, and then of course the co-op development is something that will be underway during this next decade. The Hutto YMCA Recreation Center is a project that is expected to get underway in 2012-2013. And will provide a major recreation center with 25,000 square feet and then additional room for aquatic center or the like as the years go on for here in the community, so that we can work on becoming a healthier Hutto. And then roadway construction. Not only as far as some of the city programs, you have, of course, things like Mater Lane reconstruction. You'll have the downtown streets that I just mentioned. You've got Front Street. We'll be adding a turn lane in there. But beyond that, you also have things that the county and the state will be working with to have expansion of certain roadways and improvements of those roadways in order to be able to improve our transportation through the community. Parks and trails construction. One of the things that you're going to see is you're going to see Fritz Park receive a major facelift. Already, it's one where it's only about 5 years old. You know, it's still looking good, but we have with Holmstrom Field, as well as the football field, are going to see major improvements over the next couple of years. You're going to have internal trails put in. You're also going to have additional trails throughout the community building. You've got 1660 South, a sidewalk built along there. You're going to have just different sidewalks built to be able to connect, especially all of our schools together, but also our community together. and then more. The council has already began the process of planning for the next 5 years, not only through the capital improvements project or program that they go through each year that looks out 5 and even 10 years, but they also go and have begun the 5-year fiscal forecast. They'll take a look to see what are the things that they want to see as a community from a policy perspective, especially using their 2030 strategic guide. What are the next things that they expect from us from the next 5 years in regard, not only staff, but actually all from the community to be able to come through. And then next we'll be looking at those revenues and seeing then as our projections over the next 5 years, how can we make that match? What's going to need to be cut out? What are some of the, I doubt there'll be much money to add stuff in, but what are the things that we're going to be able to bring forward in the next 5 years and beyond based upon what we see as the revenues available to be able to accomplish that. Any questions?
I asked all the questions the last time, so what do you see in terms of time frame for those 5,000 platted homes that are out there? That's a very big interest.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting thing, and I think this year, 2011, will be the one that kind of sets the momentum for how it goes. Right now, it's still, what you saw last year. If you like that amount of growth, we're expecting to see pretty much the same thing. Now, as the year goes on, and depending on what kind of comes available at the end of 2011, 2012, there may be an uptick in it, but we'll see. I mean, right now, for those who have done quite a bit of forecasting in the past, I think they're kind of eating crow now. So,
that's what our demographers tell us.
Okay. So if you knew the answer, why'd you ask the question?
I'm not closing a campus. Make sure. 2 years from now, I'm not here and you're calling me a fool.
Yes.
And which way are you seeing the city grow? Is it going in a particular direction, or is it just kind of from the center out? But where is that road coming from in locating itself?
What you're seeing now is just the subdivisions that are still unfinished. So things along FM 685 and towards the south, there's quite a bit of growth in that area. We're still hearing about whether or not kind of on the north side of 79 up there towards Hutto Square, there's another phase that we've heard has been sold or kind of sold from the original developer to another potential developer. Whether or not that moves forward and how soon, that may have picked up a little bit, but we're not certain. We don't have anything coming in saying when that's going to happen.
What's happening with utility growth?
Utility growth for which side? Water, wastewater, or like?
Wastewater primarily.
For wastewater, we have a major project underway right now along County Road 108 that will provide water and wastewater. It was actually put before, we've got this project underway before the Temple College TSTC project came about, but it was one to where just through synergy and circumstance, it actually works out perfectly. We expect by the end of, I want to say, I see Matt Bush shaking the eyes, 2011 or early 2012, having the water and wastewater in over there. So, and we're planning for the wastewater to actually not only go along County Road 108, but to then kind of dip down underneath 79, the railroad tracks, to where the Crossing Carmel Creek property is, which will make about 80 acres over there of the Carmel Crossing Creek property at that north-east corner of it available for development. And so by having that wastewater extended down in there and then tied into what we have over in near the school, we'll be able to provide, in Hutto High School, is what I'm talking about, we'll be able to provide wastewater up there.
Are you going to cover Carmel Creek, that intersection of 79 and 130?
It'll be, essentially the wastewater will take you from pretty much about the middle of County Road 108, if not a little bit further north, and then down there, go underneath 79, the railroad, and then tie back over into 685. When I draw lines out like this, there's a map in my head that y'all don't see. Naylor.
What is your time frame, do you think, on Farley Street? Because obviously, as closer you get to the Christmas season, the more it impacts the stores and restaurants.
Exactly. It's one to where with March, construction will begin underway. When I say construction, it may be some invisible construction at first. We're moving utility lines, things that won't impact as far as the area directly and the people that are there. As we move further along, that is something we're going to have to be mindful of the schedule to make sure that we are out of different areas in the times that they need them, especially like right along there on East Street. The quicker we can get that done in a timeline where it maybe is a bit of a downtime for those businesses, whatever months those may be, is going to be crucial to then when we move further down on Farley. We'll do Farley in stages. So the first stage you'll see is going to be essentially from just east of the East Street intersection to 1660 North. And so you'll have that piece done first, and then the intersection, we're going to figure out how to do that to where traffic can still go through, and then pick up the next piece, and then continue down in segments like that. Linda.
What's the Carmel Creek status now?
The crossing of Carmel Creek status is, don't hold your breath for the immediate future. It is one to where it has kind of gone through several different hands. The current owners of it are investors, and while they're planning and trying to figure out what could go on there that they can then go market and then probably sell the property themselves with that in mind. So when you start hearing about us reworking the plans for the property and what what the market says is feasible for the property and what the community says they would want to see on that piece of property, that's when to start kind of seeing what's going to happen next. But you're going to have to go through that process first. And while we've had just kind of discussions behind doors on it, they haven't brought anything forward to council. And the council will still have to make decisions regarding any changes to what is essentially the zoning for that property.
One other question about 1660, what's happening with that, the expansion plans?
Yeah, I wish the county was here so that they could take that monkey and deal with it. For 1660, the relocation of 1660, I'm thinking that one really has probably been frozen for the foreseeable future. The county seems to be moving away from that project and looking into other projects. Some of which are County Road 108 improvement, extension of Ed Schmidt Boulevard, but the 1660 relocation really seems to be kind of on, we'll just say, has been put aside. I think Mr. Hesselmeyer found a better way of putting it. I'll share that with us. Any other questions? I appreciate, just as far as y'all coming out to hear what's going on with the city. As you know, if there are things that you have, one of the things that I talk about the council and their policies and the like. But let me also state, as we look for boards and commission members, you have an opportunity to be helping to develop that policy. The council looks very much to its boards and commissions, to its planning and zoning commission, its parks advisory board, historic preservation commission, etc., economic development corporation, for input as well as to move forward with a bunch of these things. So as the time comes where you say, it's either you say, well, I'm not sure they're going in the right direction, or you say, I'd like to be part of that direction, put your name in the hat for a board of commission seat, most especially. It's one to where we have many different openings and we need people with many different talents. And so it's one to where it's always appreciated, and it really is just something that hopefully you get back from as much as you give to us. And so with that, I thank the mayor, I thank the council members for the great year we've had and the great year ahead of us.
And I would just say, tying into that, one of the places you can start to get onto the board of commissions is the Hutto Citizens University, and that is open now for, if you'd like to be a part of it. There's applications, I'm sure, on the website, and that's one of the places where you can learn the different parts of the city, and then you can move on and feel comfortable serving on specific boards and commissions. Just want to thank everybody for coming. Hope you got all the information you needed, and stay and network a little bit, and hope to see you next month. Thank you.